Hello, Andrew Chubb here from Awalé Resources, listed on the Toronto Venture Exchange with the ticker ARIC. We're also listed on the OTC markets for North America and the Frankfurt Exchange as well, with the tickers down the bottom there, AWRF and 2F60. So today I'm here to talk to you about Charger again. Charger is a high-grade gold discovery in our ODNE project in the northwest of Côte d'Ivoire. We've just had a nice news release on Charger this morning. So without further ado, let's get on with that. We are talking about the exploration upside at Charger with this drilling that we've done. So that's our usual forward-looking statements. And on to where we are. We're in the northwest of Côte d'Ivoire. Awale has got just under 2,500 square kilometres of exploration ground, with most of those permits actually now granted. Charger sits within this permit here, just here, and this is a zoom in on that permit. It sits within, amongst other discoveries, which include BBM, Scepter East and Empire, and the other dots on there, including Freeman and Lando, are exploration targets, and it is an extremely target-rich project. So we would hope that we're going to see more discoveries on the project too, and we'll talk a bit quickly about that as I wrap up at the end. Charger is a very high-grade breccia system hosted within Monza diorite rocks. And the most recent deeper drilling that we've done, these are much deeper holes. These are big step backs from our previous drilling. So the first three holes, a step back of approximately 180 meters deeper than previous drilling. And then hole 151 is actually a further 200 meters down dip and plunge. So they're actually, that hole is actually 400 meters below any of our previous drilling. So look, OEDD 149, 17.9 grams per ton over 6 meters. Really nice mineralization within the breccia. What we're going to do next is, and that is follow up to like previous holes in 145, 146, 148, which included 52 meters at 16.4 grams in 148 and 33 meters at 5 grams in 146. So Charger is a very high grade system, and when we intercept breccia, we definitely get high grade mineralization, and so it's all about chasing that breccia system. So the next slide we're going to look at is a long section. This long section is from LL here, LL. And the interesting thing to look at here is we're also looking at the extensions of the Charger mineralization in this southwestern DMAG cell. Each one of these dotted lines represents a DMAG cell, and what is interesting about these DMAG cells is we know the mineralization is magnetite destructive, and so it is demagnetized in comparison to its surrounding rocks. And where this star is, we've recently found subcrop in some mapping, and we've got a rock chip sample out of that subcrop that's up to 0.7 grams per ton gold. And look, that is really interesting. So we've got sulfides and gold mineralization along strike, and we are looking we are drilling on that as we speak. Actually, we've just started drilling out there, and some really interesting holes I'm sure will come out of that. So here's that long section that we're talking about. This is that demagnetized drill target on the left. Down here you can see this exploration vector that we've put in. I'm going to talk about that in our next slide, about how we're now understanding the system and understanding where we are in relation to our proximity to the breccia system. And on the right hand side here is the drilling that we've done to date, and you can see there is big step backs. So 180 meters from our previous drilling, as I mentioned before, that hole number 148 with nice mineralization, and then coming down here to 149. And this purple is where we've got a grade weighted downhole intercept of over 10 grams per tonne. So the core of this system is running higher than 10 grams per tonne. Okay, and then the outside that we've got a more than 5 gram per tonne contour, and then outside that we've got a more than 3 gram per tonne contour. So these are all absolutely underground mineable grades. We know that when we, as an underground mineable grade, in these systems you're looking for grades of over 3 grams per tonne, and we know that the widths of mineralization or lengths of downhole mineralization are enough to be thinking about underground mining as well. So this is a really exciting target, and the key thing is we've hit breccia mineralization in these 3 holes up here with more high grade mineralization, and then this big step out that we did back here, hole number 151, it is mineralized. There are gold grades over 1 gram per tonne. We haven't hit breccia, but we have hit what we would call edge of system. And so that means that the system is open, and we have now drilled down over 600 meters vertical depth with that system being open. And what we need to do within this, we know that the geometry has subtle changes as we move down dip and plunge. And so we actually need to what we would call level drilling, and that's drill a series of holes which would pierce this on a horizontal level at each step down depth. So we will come back and drill infill holes in between these levels and keep stepping down and chasing that mineralization down plunge. And so the key thing about that is as well, this zone of extremely high grade, shallow plunging chutes within that target panel. So we've got this steeply dipping zone, and then within that there is shallow plunging controls on the high grade, and this is one of those zones in here. So there is room for more of these zones in between these big step outs as well. So where we get blowouts in the width of the breccia, so and then also at the same time we get increases in the grade of that mineralization with this. So there is upside within that charger target of the drilling that we have done, and there is upside on down plunge potential below that 600 meters, and also we are now looking at drilling this demagnetized zone, the second demag zone over here, and we've got evidence of mineralization at surface. So there will be that level style drilling up here to test that demag target as well, which is really exciting stuff. So there is ample opportunity for charger to grow, and that is those things are the key takeaways from this 4-hole drill campaign that finished off our drilling before just at the end of the wet season in August. So that's really exciting stuff for us, and it's really something to look out for. And so we would expect to drill these holes and in the ensuing weeks with results coming out for those in the ensuing months. So that's really exciting stuff for us. So I mentioned the exploration vector. So we now are understanding the alteration in the system, and so you can see that arrow going from right to left there with increasing breccia and silica content. And so we can see this on all scales. So we see this on the smaller scale. So this is how we know that these holes in 151, for example, which is the one that is 600 meters below surface, that we are on edge of system. So we're getting this hematite alteration. We're starting to see, a little bit of brecciation and that actinolite in that breccia, and it's starting to show the failure of the host rocks and that significant increase in alteration from what would be more distal out here, where we see more epidote, plus the hematite and K feldspar alteration, the potassic alteration, not K feldspar. And so as you move from right to left, you see increasing silica content, more quartz veining. You get 2 phases of hematite, so we're seeing more hematite in there as well initially, but then we just move into this really strong hydraulic breccia, which is where we've seen some of the most significant mineralization in the charger system. So that's how we know that we are on edge of system in that hole number 151, and even that hole number 150, which is 200 meters above 151, but 180 meters below 148. It is just on edge of system as well. It's really close to being in there, but not right in the middle of the system. So this is where, you know, we see significant upside with that drilling at Charger as well. So watch this space and watch Charger grow as we continue to drill, and that continuing to drill. So, you know, this is something that's really important. So we're moving towards our very first resources for the project, and those first resources will include Charger and BBM and Empire. We have 88,000 meters of drilling planned for the joint venture part of the project, and 100,000 meters of drilling planned for the Odiani project as a whole at the moment. We are looking to have our first resource estimate in Q2 in 2026, and that will be very closely followed with a PEA late in Q2, early Q3, and really we'll be moving straight from that into PFS drilling, or phase 2 PFS drilling, if you like. And so that is a combination of resource development drilling and exploration drilling. So a lot of those holes that we're drilling at Charger are exploration holes. We are about to fly airborne gravity gradient, which is really interesting to delineate intrusions within our system, and from that we are expecting to develop more drill targets associated with the surface geochemistry that we've done, and we will be drilling those targets toward the end of this year, once we've got the imagery in and the interpretation from the gravity gradient, and we layer that up with our geochemistry. You know, we will be drilling more exploration holes within the joint venture, and the idea is to get significant rapid resource growth at the project, above and beyond the BBM, Charger and Empire discoveries. And this program is fully funded by Newmont. So until the project produces 2 million ounces of gold, NI 43-101 compliant, Newmont will continue to fund, and so at the moment, you know, we are almost at an initial $15 million spend by Newmont, and they are going to continue to spend above that 15 million as we move towards the first resources for the project. So really exciting times, lots of drilling, lots of news flow, not just from the discoveries that we have made, but there is also potential for the new discoveries, within the project, and so beyond that, there is the potential for new discoveries within the 100% Awale ground, which actually surrounds what we just discussed today. And we'll be drilling targets on the 100% Awale ground early in 2026. So watch this space, watch Awale grow, and you know, at our current market cap of, you know, roughly $60 million, we are undervalued against our peers, and we see significant value growth coming as we do all this drilling in the next 18 months. So thanks very much for your time, everyone. I've gone for 15 minutes, which is a long one, but I think it's really important to get these points across to you all. Thank you.